What have we done already to reduce expenses and make sure that we're operating as efficiently as possible? There's a few different things the district has done over the past years and even up to today, and we'll look at some of these things. Uh, just this current fiscal year that we're in, some restructuring of staffing and saved about $250,000, kind of reducing some administrative expenses. One is a redesign of the Director of Administrative Services position. We also had a part-time curriculum director who retired, and the position was not replaced. The transportation supervisor has intentions to retire mid-year. She will not be replaced. And then lastly, the Mainville assistant principal position was eliminated for this school year. So again, about $250,000 in savings right there. A couple of other things the district has done is the teachers work together with the board and put together a plan on health insurances that would save almost $14 million over a span of 10 years in health insurance premiums. Refinancing a bond issue, take advantage of lower market rates, savings of nearly $1.5 million. Redesigning transportation, reducing mileage, minimizing the amount of buses that are used, $400,000 to $500,000 in savings. Also, some other little things that the district has done, trying to look at every little penny, every penny that adds up and matters, and that would be some savings on copiers, changing from leases to purchases, and saving some dollars there. And also a new phone system that was implemented saves about $45,000 per year. So again, no expenditure too small to look at, trying to save as much money as possible. The last slide I'll give you is one that kind of takes us up to, again, current day examples. If you look at our current per pupil expenditure average, we're about $750 per student below the state average. So if you compare us to the state, to all schools in Ohio and compare their averages, save about $2.8 million per year based on that number. One other thing that's a common question is administrative expenses. Can you get rid of some of those administrators? Can you reduce that, save some money there? As you just saw just a minute ago, we already did that for this year, saved about $250,000. In addition to that, if you look at this, again, 17% below state average in what we're spending per pupil on administrative expenses. The last example of fiscal responsibility is if you look at this new high school out here that just finished last month, district was about $500,000 under budget. So again, doing the best we can with our resources and managing taxpayer dollars. Last question, and a very good question. What happens if it doesn't pass? There's basically a few things up here. Plan B, we call it, is to, again, go to probably to a February election, look at a property tax levy, and as we had mentioned a minute ago, the earnings tax is a one-time chance based upon the fact that it takes 18 months to get the full collection. We can't try it more than one time, so be a one-time chance. If that doesn't work, we'll be back in February with a millage levy, and again, probably looking at 8 to 10 mills. If that doesn't work, try the same thing again in May. And if that doesn't work, basically you get to June, and there has to be expense reductions to balance the budget to make sure we can operate going into the next fiscal year. What kind of expense reductions are we looking at? $4 million. Well, what does $4 million look like for our school district? We'll talk about this in this slide and give some examples in the next slide as well. $4 million is basically the equivalent of 70 teachers for Little Miami. That's about 30% of our teaching staff. So again, it's serious money. It's big dollars. It's actually it'll be a devastating effect on the district to have to get to that point to cut $4 million. 83% of the budget spent on salary and benefits, so probably much of that $4 million will come in the form of staff reductions. But there are some other cost reductions that we'll be looking to consider. Our ultimate goal will be to make it least impactful on education. So we would look at these types of cuts would be examples of things that would be looked at. Hiring and wage freezes, full pay to participate right now is a $75 fee, pay to participate. If the levy failed, you'd be looking at probably covering the entire cost of those extracurriculars. Again, that's something that's not at the very core of the school district, and obviously academics being in the core, we'd be looking to cover those extracurricular activities about $600 to $800 again per person per sport. In terms of programming, state minimum programming at the high school, at the junior high school, also at the elementary buildings, taking away all those elective courses and trying to get down to state minimum to save some dollars there. Reduce the number of buildings in operation. That could be not opening the new buildings. It could be closing down some of the older buildings. Just to give you an example, by not opening the 2 new buildings, you'd be looking at about $850,000 in savings going into next year in terms of when you look at staffing, custodial staffing, and things to clean the building, and also utility cost savings. So that would be considered. Other support staff reductions. In terms of busing, state minimum busing, probably no high school transportation, and also no transportation at the lower levels within 2 miles. Again, conforming to state standards. Where can you find additional information? There is a website that's up, has some very good information on it. If you go to that, the website, there is a link on there that can provide additional information. Also, feel free to call and ask questions. We'll try to do the best we can.